Right, okay. Welcome everyone to the live stream. So there's about a minute delay between me talking and it coming to Facebook. So if I don't respond to comments straight away, that'd be why. It just takes a couple of minutes for everything to resync. But if you can all just say hello in the comments, confirm that you can all hear me. I've done a few tests which tell me I can be heard. And we've got Kirsty here saying hello. You see, if you comment, your questions or your comments will go on display. Look at that. Brilliant. Okay, so as I say, apologies for last night. Last night, my software let me down quite badly. It was a new bit of software that I hadn't quite finished using before. And basically, I set it to record and to stream to you guys at HD. It then decided actually it was going to try and stream at 4K, which fantastic. I love the fact I've got a camera that can handle 4K. I love the fact that the technology could handle 4K. But even at 100 megabytes up and down speed that I've got with my Virgin broadband, it could not handle the issue of the speed and the quantity of data that 4K captures. So we've got loads and loads of people coming in. Some names and profile pictures aren't coming through because of different sharing preferences and your settings. So apologies for that. But I will keep an eye on the comments because they're just here in my line sight coming through. So that's working very nicely. Everything's loud and clear. Fantastic. That's what we like to hear. So this is already going much, much better than last time. So that is a good start. So tonight I'm going to show you auto emails, and I'm also going to show you status updates. So these are the two latest features. They rolled out late Tuesday night. Automatic emails, let's get the principle of that nailed first. The idea is we've given you a tool where you can customize it however you like to send emails all the way up to a deadline and after a deadline if you wanted to. And the idea is it's there for chasing documents, reminding people of key dates. So if we look at year-end accounts, for example, what we've just done in our firm is I've actually set an email that goes out 12 months before the annual accounts deadline for filing, because I know that's 3 months left of the financial year, and it's inviting the client to book what we're calling a 9-monthly meeting. And that enables us to talk tax planning and should we put some money into the pensions and all of that good stuff. So it automatically sends those emails out for us now, which is fantastic because it's not something my client managers always remember to do, especially if they're really busy. And then we get to 8 months and 29 days from the deadline and we send you your year end's finished. This is what we're looking for. We're going to need X amount of documents. We're going to try and get your accounts done within 3 months. If you need them sooner, let us know. We'll schedule that. And then we've got some chasing emails after that. So that's the principle of automated emails. The principle of the status updates is, as Andy refers to, the Domino's effect. So when you order on pizza from Domino's, the app then tracks where your pizza is. So it tells you they've got the order. It tells you they're preparing your order. They're baking your order. They're doing quality check. And then they're going to do the delivery. So we've taken that principle and we've applied it to phases in Client Engager. So when you complete a phase, you could set it so there's an automatic email that sends out saying, we've done this, or this stage is complete, we're about to start this. So for example, we've set it so once our preparation of annual accounts is done, it emails the client saying, hi, we're finished preparing your accounts. Our head of accounts is now reviewing those documents. If there's no queries, they'll be passed on to your client manager, sorry. This normally takes 5 to 7 working days. So we've updated the client. We've set an expectation of a turnaround time. The client feels involved. We've also said that our head of accounts is reviewing. So the client feels important as well. So that's the benefit and the power of those auto email status things that are going on. So let's get into the product and have a look at how all this works. Just going to check my phone to make sure everything's still working okay. There's no screaming at me this time, telling me there's problems. So that is always a good start. See, this is yeah, looking good. Right. Okay, so let's go straight into the products and have a look then. So first of all, what you need to do is you need to start planning out where you want these emails to be sent from in regards to at what stages. And on top of that, you also need to plan what templated emails you need to do, because that's the first step. You need to go into settings and you need to go, oh, I think I've caused myself a headache here because I've got a window in my way. So you need to go into templates. And what we've done is we've actually populated some automatic email templates for you just to get you started. Worth checking these over, making sure you're all happy with these. But these were really built for that chasing reminder of we need your documents, that automatic reminder there. So what you need to do is create all of the automatic emails you want, and you need to create all those status update emails you want. And just to make it easier to find them, I'd call them auto emails, or AE if you want, and then put the name of the email. And then I'd call them status email, and then the name of the email. Because that way you just easier to find the right email when you're looking in the settings later. So over here, what we've got is just a standard email. All I've gone is hi, contact preferred name, which will autofill because it's a placeholder. I'm just going to get rid of this actually. This might help. There we go. Put all the text, told them what we're looking for if we need anything, and then we've put a placeholder to sign off who we want it to be sent from in theory.
I'm not sure.
Excuse me, Alexa's decided to wake up. So we've filled out an email, we've set this up, we've put the placeholders in that we've got that we want to make sure it's looking right and it looks personalized to the client. So we'll save that. So we've got all these different emails here ready to go. Then to sort your settings out, you go to settings and you go to your services. And you'll notice there's this new column here, global auto reminders. So let's go to payroll, I think. Or no, let's do VAT. So I'm going to set up an auto reminder. I want this email to go out to, so someone's just said they're going to call their phase emails, phase preparation and phase filing email, etc. That's a really good idea, just to really break down exactly what you're calling it. So first of all we have to do is click on, I'm on the wrong screen. There we go. New. First of all, do we want the email automation enabled or not? Obviously, we're building it to be sent, so we want it enabled. But if you don't want it enabled in the future, all you do is go in and turn it to no. So we'll click yes. Now, the next question is, do you want to put it into a queue? Well, by putting it into the queue, it means you're going to be checking it manually before you send it, which would be a really good idea, I think, for the first batch of couple of automations, just to make sure you're happy with what's going and when it's going. So we're going to say, yes, it wants to go in the queue at the moment. Then we set a time that it's going to run. Now, this is a 24-hour clock. So if you put 2 in here, that is going to go at 2 in the morning. So make sure if you want to send it 2 in the afternoon, you put 1400 hours. Now, this is where you need to think slightly. Do you want all the automated emails to be in your queued box ready for you when you start work at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning? If so, then setting an earlier time is fine. But if you're going to turn these automations on to run without you stopping, without the email going to the queue, it's just going to go start the email and send it straight away. You don't want that set too early. So just think about what time you want these emails to be generated at, especially if you're sending them straight away without them going through the queue system. Do you want the email to run on weekends? If you say no here, the email still runs, but it will populate on a Monday morning and send. And then all the reminders will send X amount of days after that Monday. So if you don't want to be interrupting your clients' weekends, just click no here. Then we're going to send the email. We're going to choose the email template we want. So I'm going to go to my automated emails, and I'm going to go to VAT. If I want to check I've got the right one here, all we have to do is press preview, and it shows you the content of that email template. You then can decide, are you going to send it to all contacts of this client or primary contact only? Now, this is just at the global level. What you can do is go into clients, and you can set this at a client by client level. If you don't need, for example, if you don't want it to go to the primary contact, maybe you want to go to the admin person who actually gets all that paperwork for you, then set this up at a global level and then go and edit it at the client level, which I'll show you in a bit. You then select which default outbox you want. So you've got the mail system, your SMTP server, or the Microsoft option. So Gmail will be on there by August. When do you want to send it? Well, I want this to send 1 month and 7 days before the deadline, which means basically on the last day of the VAT period, I'm going to be emailing the client saying, we're ready when you are. So it's seen as really proactive. Then you can decide if you want to repeat this email at all. So I might then say, well, actually, yes, I want this email to repeat every 7 days saying, come on, we're ready when you are. Send us this information so we can get on with it. And then I might say, well, actually, I only want it to send up until 14 days before the statutory deadline, because after that, I'm going to create a new one, and I'm going to be a bit more direct and aggressive in my tone of voice and my tone of email to make them realize that we really need this. We're getting too close to the deadline now. And then it says, right, under which conditions? So the client's got to be active. They've got to have a contact person. They've got to have email addresses, etc. But the main part here is, have we set a records received date? If the records received date is set, then I don't want this email to be going out anymore. I want it to stop it automatically. Another option is also, is the job status at request records or awaiting records still? Because if it is, then we still want the records to go. But if it gets into, once we mark to say we've got part records received or records received, we want this to stop. So this is how you tailor that setting for that. So we'll click on save. So now we can see what's going on. We've got all the rule explained here. So that's how you set a global one. I'm now going to go and have a look at a specific client, my trusty Client Engager demo account. And I want to go down to Service Auto Reminders, which is right down behind my face, unfortunately. But if you click on that, it takes you to this screen, okay? And you can see all the different services that we've got for this client. So if you've only got one service, there'll only be one service on here. If you've got loads of services, there's going to be loads of services. And you can see I've got one VAT. So we've got one VAT enabled here. So I've just got a question in. So let me just answer that. So to confirm, job status is ticked. It will send or not send. It's whatever you set that as. So let me just go into here for you. And I'm on the wrong screen again. So if I go into this and scroll down, if I go to job, let me get rid of your question because that's showing. So is or is not, it's up to you how you set that. So I could say job status is not records received, in progress, help needed, blah, bum, bum. Or I can say job status is one of those. So you can tailor this email to be sending for whatever reason you might want to send it. So it's up to you whether it's a job status is or is not, and records received is or is not. So you can tailor that to suit your flow of conversation and your rules. Okay, so we've got here our global reminders. We've got here our client-specific reminders. If we go to our global reminder here, we've got the VAT one that I've just set. So if I edit this, maybe I don't want this one to run for this one client. Or maybe I want it to run, but I want it to run for a specific contact that wasn't listed in the global settings. So I can go here and create a new one. And this is for just this one client I'm creating it for. I'm going to leave all that the same. And I'm going to go to choose the same email, but you could have a tailored template for this one client if you wanted to, but your template list would start getting very, very long there. Now you've got your all contacts, primary contact, but now because we're on the client specific record, you can go to selected contacts. And I'm going to select that I want this to go to Peter. And then I can just set up all the same rules as I set last time. I want it to repeat every 7 days until 14 days before the deadline, etc. And I can save that. So now we can see we've got a global one that's disabled for this client. And we've got the current client-specific one that's enabled. So that's how we tailor a global email down to a client-specific level. But we can also add client-specific emails that aren't set on a global level. So for example, here we've got bookkeeping. We've enabled one just for this client that is going to send 7 days before and chase bookkeeping information. So it's completely customizable to suit how you want to work. If you've got any further questions on automatic emails, stick them into the comments and I will try my best to answer them. Considering there's no one in the comments shouting that there's no audio and you keep freezing, I'm guessing this is going well so far, so that's good. And Andy's not WhatsApping me saying there's a problem, so that is also good. But yeah, right. So while I wait for the rest of your comments and questions to come in for that, I will take you through now the status update emails. So if we go to settings and we go into our services and we edit our service, when you're now in the phases, there's this new box here of template for an email to send on completing the phase. Now you can select none here. You don't have to have any email status updates for services for phases if you don't want to, but this now gives you the opportunity to say, yes, I do want one. So what we're going to do is, let me just recap. So this is going to be for a limited company's accounts. And I'm saying that I want to send an email there. So I'm going to save that. And that's it. I've set it. But let me show you how that works. So if I go through to deadlines, let's have a look for limited company accounts. If I click on this one, now, first of all, you're going to see there's this now envelope icon next to collect records. That means there's a status update email sat next to that to be aware of. So if I complete that, it now says this phase was assigned an email template to send on completion. Do you want to bring up the compose email for this message? We're going to say yes. And it's automatically filled it in with the template, gives you the opportunity to add any attachments you want to send and press send. But you can also then tailor it if you needed to. If there's maybe a query or something like that, you can press send and after putting that all in there. So in this case, I would press send and that's it. The status email is gone. So that's how quick and simple that is. But I think for a very, very simple thing to set up and to do, I think it's really powerful. I know we in our firm are already getting really positive reactions from our clients saying, oh, thank you for being so proactive. Thanks for the update. We really appreciate that. So it's getting some really good rapport with our clients at the moment. So that's the two areas I wanted to cover tonight. I wanted to do it last night, but tonight we've gone through automatic emails and status update emails. I am not going anywhere. So if you've got any questions about this or any other part of Client Engager, please do take advantage and put the questions into the chat. I will then sit and answer them as best as I can. If I don't get anything in for 5 or 10 minutes, I will disappear and leave you all to enjoy your evening. But I'm sure there's plenty of you with plenty of questions. Even if it's not about automatic emails and status updates, I'm more than happy to try and help wherever I can on this evening. And for anyone, actually, while we're waiting for questions to come in, if anyone's going to the Digital Accountancy Show next week in London, I will be there attending. I'm speaking at a few different sessions, but by all means, if you see me about, please feel free to grab me and say hello. I'm more than happy to chat to anyone that wants to have a chat. I have got quite a few commitments with speaking sessions and social media coverage with the podcast that I do. But as long as I'm not running somewhere, I'm more than happy to chat with anyone that's going to be at the Digital Accountancy Show in London next week. Okay, so we've got our first questions coming in. So thank you very much, Johan and Co. They look like great features. They are. Question. So if you want to send an auto email for accounts just after the year end, you're looking at 8 months and say 28 days. Which date does it check against? So it's going to look against the statutory end date, the statutory filing date, which is normally 9 months. So if you wanted to go on the last day, put 9 months in. If you wanted to go on the last day, on the next day, because there's so many different days in the months, it's difficult to say. But if you want to go within the first couple of days of year end, then I'd put 8 months, 29 days, and you know it's going to go about right there. But if you wanted to go on the last day of the financial year, just stick 9 months in and it should be absolutely fine. Because that way it's counting months, not days. So that's why it should be more accurate. Another Facebook user saying, thank you, Johan. You are more than welcome. I am hoping to make this I plan to make this a weekly event, apart from when I'm at events or on holiday. Now, unfortunately, next week I am at Digital Accountancy Show, so I won't be doing this next week. The week after that, I'm in Whitby on holiday. So if I tried doing this, then I would get shot by my wife and buried in a beach in Whitby. So I will be back in 3 weeks' time to carry on with the weekly lives. Right. So next one, I'm still setting up mine up. How often will engagement letters be updated? If I set up a variation on what you have in there now, how will I know what's changed? Okay. When you speak to a governing body and you ask them, when did you last update your letters of engagement? I pretty much guarantee you every single one of them is going to tell you when GDPR got released. And before that, it's when data protection came out in 2008. Letters of engagement only ever get updated in line with changes of legislation. So that's the only time they really need to be updated. If a governing body updates their templates, they normally notify their members, at which point you would be sent templates or you'd be told of what you need to change, and you can go and change that for your templates if that's your governing body. But from a business law point of view, a letter of engagement, from a legal point of view, it just has to cover whatever the law says. And the law doesn't change every month. The law doesn't change every year when it comes to things like this. So if there's a major release, like a legal change, we will notify people that what they need to put in there. But there's been a lot of hysterics around letters of engagement and then changing and rules. The only time they have to change is for legal reasons, or if your governing body decides it wants you to phase something in a specific way, at which point they will let you know. But if we're going to make any changes to our letters of engagement templates, we'll let you know. And in the help section on Client Engager, you will be able to see all of our templates that are our original templates. They're based off AAT templates. There's nothing overly extravagant about them. But we would update those and then would let you know by email. Is the 3-month pre-year end review an internal service you've created? So no, we've not actually created a service for this. It's just an email. So we have our annual accounts 12 months before the statutory filing deadline. An email goes out to the client, which is automated. It says you're coming up to the end of your financial year. it's often a good idea at this point, and clients find value in having a chat with us about financial planning to help minimize tax and understand what their reliabilities are. Here's a booking link to our diary. Please feel free to book in a meeting with your client manager if that's what you want to do. I'll be honest, guys, not a huge amount of people take us up on it. But again, it shows proactiveness. And because it's automated now, it takes none of our time whatsoever. So another user saying, thank you. Question, is it possible to remove some of the system emails, services, etc.? I'm a bookkeeper and I don't do accounts or tax. And there's lots of stuff in there I'm never going to need. And it would be good to clear out the unwanted stuff. Yes, it is. Let me show you how to do that. So first of all, let's tackle the service problem. So if we go into services, click on our pencil and click on no. Now, someone remind me to undo this in a second. There we go. That's now gone. So as I say, pencil, enabled no, save. Yes. Now, they've not been deleted. They're just archived. So what I can do is I can click on show disabled services. I can go back in them in the future and re-enable them if I wanted to. So if maybe your bookkeeping practice grows and you take on someone that can do or will do accounts and you want to now offer that service, you don't have to start from scratch. You just go into the show disabled services and turn them back on. So hopefully that helps. In regards to the templates, what have I done? In regards to the messaging templates, all of the custom message templates you can delete by just pressing the delete button. And unfortunately, you can't delete anything that's built in the built-in templates because they're hard-coded in for a reason, but you can still edit what's in them. So hopefully that helps tidy up what you need to look at. Next question, is there plans to have default signatures per user? Currently, each staff member has created a default staff name, email with their personal footer. So at the moment, we've just got the one footer for the company. We haven't created signatures, no, but I will put it on the list of ideas, which is, I think that will be the 100th idea currently sat on the ideas list. But I'll put that on the list. As most of you already know, the way we work is we take that whole list and we will put it out to vote. The next list for voting will go out in September, and that will be voted on ready for November, December, January's build program. And we will go from the very top of the list for whoever's got the most votes on the list, ideas-wise. We'll start from the top, work our way down. Whatever we don't get done goes back onto the next voting list, and so on. So no idea just gets ignored just because it didn't get voted on the first time. It's a continuous cycle. So yeah, so I'll put custom staff member emails on there, no problems at all. Next one, on auto emailing, how do you set a templated email to go out at different stages, say requesting records when jobs started and once accounts have been filed, for example? So that I wouldn't do automated emails for this various stages. I'd do the status updates. So for example, we've got an email. One of our phases is called filing. We complete that. It automatically gives me that email to say that I send to my client saying, hi, just to let you know, those accounts you've approved have now been filed. Because we realized we were really bad at telling our clients that actually we have filed it. And they ring us or email us saying, did you file those things that we approved? It's like, well, yeah, of course we did. But actually, we haven't told you we had. So yeah, so I would use status updates here rather than automated emails, if that makes sense. Great question here. So can you make multiple emails per service? Yes, you can. So if I go through to, wrong screen, Johan. Right. If I go into my services, if I go back to this one, oh, that's a service setup. So here we've got a great example. Okay, we've got 3 different emails that are going to happen at different times. So we've got one email that happens 12 months before. We've got an email that happens 9 months before the filing deadline. and then one that happens 7 days before the filing deadline and repeats every 2 days. So now, proactive of me would probably actually say, actually, that probably wants to happen, I don't know, 30 days. So in the last month of the filing deadline, we've still not had the account information we need. So we're going to chase them every 2 days for 30 days. And that might give them the incentive to do what they're meant to be doing. Crumbs, hang on. There we go. So yeah, so you can have as many different emails here as you want with different frequencies and stuff. That's absolutely fine. Right. Kirsty, I don't know what your sharing settings are, but you're one of the only people that's got a name on. That's lovely. Is there a way to delete versions of checklists that you have created by mistake, please? There is not, and I'll tell you for why. So basically, the way we've created services and checklists is so that there's an audit trail. So basically, for each service, you can see the checklist that's been done. So if we gave you the ability to delete a checklist, even if it hadn't been used, you would corrupt the audit trail for that service. So that's why we've not enabled the ability to delete any checklists. So it's for a good reason. If it's a checklist that you've never used, you could go in and edit it and repurpose it, I suppose. But yeah, we don't delete because we keep the audit trail for you to be able to see what's going on. So like this VAT return checklist was done back in March, and I can go back and see who did it, what it's called, when it was done, etc. So that if we ever have any backlash from any clients for any reason, we can go and see, right, who's done this job, what did they do, what haven't they done, etc. So hopefully that makes sense as to why we can't just delete a checklist. Someone is off to the Lincolnshire branch meeting, so we'll catch up afterwards. Not a problem. This video will stay on the Facebook channel, the Facebook group. So where are the phase emails again? Show where the phase emails again, as you call them. So no problems at all. So we go into our settings. We go over to our services. And we click on the pencil as if we were going to edit our service. And they're here. So each phase, you can set an email template. So there was annual accounts email was set there. Here, we've set no email. Here, let's just choose a random email for now. And then I can save all of this at the bottom. And what you're going to see in the settings here is you can see which phases have got emails saved against them because there's an envelope icon. When you hover over it, it tells you what that envelope is for. So that's how you set those phase emails, as I call it, or the status update emails. So hopefully that makes sense. Oh, Andy is just replying to one of the comments. Yeah, so sorry, different terminology. So status updates are phase updates, basically. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Kirsty. So you can choose different versions of checklists to different clients. So to do that, let me just take your message off the screen so it's easier to see. Basically, you can go to your clients, go into here, go to tailored checklist, which is just behind my head. And you can choose here whether it's the default or always generic, or you can click edit, and you can, if there's different ones here, you could choose a different version. So you can also go in. So this is a terrible example of a checklist, Johan. Let's find one that might have had different versions on it. Oh, none. Okay, but yeah, so these arrows would circle you through. So what you can also do now, which you didn't used to be able to, was you could rename these versions. So you might call this e-commerce. So you've got a checklist for e-commerce, and then you might decide, right, I'm now going to go in and create another version of it So we'll save that one. That's saved e-commerce. But you could go in and edit it and go, right, actually, I want to go about, I don't know, let's have a look at juice on invoices on this one. Now it's called version 2, but I can change that to building, and you'd be able to select through. I change that. This is where I realize it doesn't work. So building. Oh, save no version, and we're going to save it as building. So if I go into here, I've got building or e-commerce. So you can have different versions and you can decide which version you're going to keep for each client. So hopefully that helps. Right, where's my mouse gone? Thank you. You're more than welcome, Kirsty. Question on tax reference section. Is there a way of showing them as visible by default instead of hidden, Paul? There is not at the moment. So what Paul is referring to here is tax references. If you've not turned on a service, aka construction industry scheme has not been turned on for this client, the system automatically hides the boxes to save confusion and looking at blank spaces. But if you wanted to store the data, if you had data to store in there, you could unhide it. But by default, the system knows which ones to show based on your services that you've turned on. And in the odd occasion where you do need to store data because they used to be registered or something, you can just unhide it and then store it and save it, and that'll be fine. So hopefully that helps, Paul. Right. If there's any more questions, please feel free to send them in. I know there's a couple of minutes delay between me speaking and you guys getting information, getting the information, and then being able to send messages. So I'm just going to hang around for a few minutes in awkward silence. It's absolutely fine. And Kirsty says that's very clever. It is. We had lots of people were getting version after version after version of the checklists, and you weren't really sure easily which version of the checklist you wanted to apply to which client. So that's why we've built in the ability to name them. So I've got an e-commerce checklist for bookkeeping, a construction, a bakery, a restaurant, whatever it is. You can have a series of checklists and you can select which one suits that client. So hopefully that helps. Andy would like to know, do many of our users use Dext? I will put a poll out for that. Andy would like an integration into Dext for us. Now, we can do an integration into Dext Prepare really easily and pull in quite a lot of really cool information, but Dext Prepare is not overly cheap. Sorry, Dext Precision isn't overly cheap. It's about £5 per client that you attach. But if there's lots of people using Dext Prepare, which is the receipt capturing, the old receipt bank one, then we would be potentially able to pull on some of my contacts at Dext and see if we can't build into their API, which is closed and shut off from the public. But I know a few people. So we'll see if we can't get a link if there's enough users interested in having that kind of information pulled through. So the type of thing it would do is it would pull in how many receipts are waiting to be processed for a certain client, what their auto-publish rate is, when they last used the software, how long it takes for them on average to submit invoices for us. Just gives us more powerful insights within Client Engager of how to manage our portfolio of clients and our work priorities, basically. Okay, incoming more questions. So, Kirsty again. So you can only allocate one version of checklist per client, i.e. if I created a weekly bookkeeping checklist and a month-end checklist, I have to create a new service. Correct. So it's one checklist per client per service. The way I've done our bookkeeping is we have our bookkeeping, which is the monthly bookkeeping service, because that's the majority of clients have a monthly bookkeeping. And then we have a weekly bookkeeping, or we call it a high frequency bookkeeping, because we've actually got clients that have daily bookkeeping with us. So the high frequency bookkeeping has a shorter checklist than the monthly bookkeeping, because there's a variation in, as you've probably identified, there's a variation in what you need to do at those things. So on a daily or weekly process, we're just checking the bank feeds, we're just reconciling as we go, like transactions and stuff, and matching them off and categorizing them. When we come to do the monthly work, that's where we're balance sheet work is primarily done, doing any accruals and prepayments and stuff like that. So yeah, we have a high frequency bookkeeping service, which has a shorter checklist, and we have our monthly bookkeeping service that has all of the same tasks as a high frequency plus extra. So 2 services. We keep the high frequency one though set as an internal service. So it doesn't go on the letter of engagement. We just have bookkeeping on the letter of engagement, and the frequency that we're going to do it is a custom field just to save confusion. Next question is it possible for transaction numbers from QBO overview screen to be pulled in to help with pricing? You know what? I'd absolutely love to say yes, but it is not on the QuickBooks API. So if anyone's using QuickBooks and they want that kind of information available into anywhere, it doesn't matter whether it's us, GoProposal, any practice management tool, any reporting tool, anything, you need to nag QuickBooks to put it on their API, and then we would be able to pull it. QuickBooks themselves said end of last year, we were one of the most high utilizing apps of the data on QuickBooks API. No one else was utilizing the amount of data out of the API that they make available. So we cover the biggest range of data points that they give us, but unfortunately it's a very finite amount of data points, which is a bit upsetting. So yeah, keep nagging them. But Andy and myself, we sit there 4 times a year around a round table as strategic partners telling them they need to give us this access. So we are nagging. Back on tax references, I created my own self-assessment service. As I'm not using the built-in self-assessment, it gets hidden on every client. So I'm not sure why you'd build your own self-assessment when we've already got one. But yes, unfortunately, because of the way they're hardwired into tax references, you will need to click on the eye to reveal that area to store that data. But yeah, the self-assessment service is there and it's completely tailorable. So you could put in all your phases and stuff in there. But yeah, unfortunately, that's just the way the system is it's those hardwires are there. That's hard coded, so it is what it is, I'm afraid. But let's have a look what else we've got coming in. Is there an update on the way for Zama AML for sole traders and individuals to integrate? Yes. Overall, Matt, yes, there is. I don't have an ETA. It's proving incredibly difficult because as much as I love Zama, they've over-engineered it. So it's only in the last few months you've been able to go, that John Smith and that John Smith from 2 different companies are the same John Smith in Zama. So they've only just recently launched that themselves. Otherwise, beforehand, they had 2 John Smiths where you had to do all your records. Or you didn't do records on one, you did on the other, and the AML inspectors got a bit funny. So they've only just given you the ability to merge them. We're still trying to work out how that pulls through in the API and how we match all that off. But we are working tirelessly on it. So it is on its way. Kirsty, you are not needy at all. It gives me something to talk about. So if there was no questions or anything coming in, then I would be very bored. So that is fine by me. You ask as many questions as you like. Someone is agreeing with Matthew about the need for the AML. Yeah, we are pushing for it. We keep facing bugs and errors. So until it's ready, we won't release it. We've already had some bugs and errors with Zama in the past. So we're just being ultra careful to make sure we're getting it bulletproof this time. But as soon as it's coming, I will let you know. Kirsty was saying Dex Precision works well for pulling through data. It does. So Dex Precision reverse engineers the data QuickBooks gives it. So Dex Precision doesn't get to see the transaction numbers, etc. that QuickBooks has got on their dashboard, which is what we'd like. they've had to build an entire engine behind the scenes to pull in the whole data series and work out for itself how many transactions, what the values were, etc. So yeah, hundreds of thousands of millions of pounds to build that engine and write all that code to break down all that data that you pull from QuickBooks, which would be a hell of a challenge. So yeah, unfortunately, until QuickBooks open the API to be stronger for us, we've not got the resources to do what Dex Precision have got. Yeah. And Miranda, are there plans for tax references to be given a placeholder? Yes, there are. I don't know when we're going to finalize that, but as part of our phase 2 email integrations, we've got a big block of work to do on placeholders, which will include pulling through service names, pulling through period end dates, pulling through statutory end dates, pulling through tax references, etc. And someone's just said, yep, that's why the Dex Precision pricing went up. Yes, it is, because the amount of work they had to put in to get QuickBooks working on it was phenomenal. I'm one of the beta testers for Dex Precision, so I'm still trying to help them work out what they've done wrong with their VAT issue. I think they've forgotten about exemptions, so we're working on it though. So yeah, and while I'm here, the building work has begun. The final designs have been signed off for the client-facing client portal app. So in September, it might be earlier, but I'm still saying September. Andy's keen to say August, but I'm saying September. By September, your clients are going to be able to download from the Android or the Apple market onto their phone the Client Engager app, and they will open that app on their phone. They'll log in for the first time, which takes a 2-factor authentication process to make sure it is them that's doing it. Once they've logged in, it's then going to be Face ID or fingerprints, depending on what mobile phone they're using, or tablet. And then from there, they're going to be able to upload and download documents. They're going to be able to e-sign documents. They're going to be able to review any documents that they've got in the folders. They're going to be able to fill out forms, which are coming out later this month, starting next month. So that's all going to be on their phone or on their tablet. So we're very excited about that and the options that it gives you to improve just that impression that the client gets of you of, oh, I've got to log into this portal, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. It's just going to be so much easier having an app on the phone for them. So yeah, we had another meeting about that today. It's very exciting. I'm really enjoying looking at what's been done, and it's been done in such a smart but professional looking way, but also accessible. So we're really looking forward to that. I'm going to guess this was Andy. Or might not have been Andy, sorry. Can't wait for the app. Biggest roadblock for my clients was not being mobile friendly. Yeah, so the client portal is fairly mobile friendly, but the app is just going to be such a better experience for them. And the fact that they're going to be able to do it anywhere, as long as they've got a mobile phone or a Wi-Fi signal, it's going to be phenomenal. You know, you should get your documents signed really quickly because they're going to get a notification from the app saying you've got a document to sign or someone's uploaded a document, etc. So question, can you say more about the phase 2 email? Yes, so phase 2 of the emails is, so Gmail comes out in August. We're doing Gmail in August to the same standards that we're working on today. Phase 2 of emails is going to be focused on all those placeholders. So we've got a more powerful emailing feature with placeholding features in there. But the main part is the ability to log emails against customers. So if I go into the email integration here, so we've got our emails. It's just taking a couple of seconds to load up because I'm streaming. At the moment, we've got the ability to do our tasks here, which is great. But what we're going to be adding is the ability to log an email against a client timeline. Basically, what we've said is we're not going to do log every email automatically because it goes wrong. As soon as there's different email addresses in, the coding starts getting a bit haywire and it goes completely wrong. So you get the wrong emails logged against the wrong clients, and you don't want that. B, you don't need an email that says thanks Andy or thanks Johan logged against the client timeline. It's just noise, and it makes searching for things an absolute nightmare. I've worked on softwares within my own firm where they've logged emails and it's just a mess. So what we're going to do is going to give you the ability to log an email to a client timeline that's important in your mind. And you're going to then be able to, as you log it, it's going to ask you, is this private to you as a user? At which point it will be logged on the timeline, but so everyone will see there's an email, but they won't be able to see what the email is and the content is. Or is it open to the whole team to see, in which case we'll make it publicly available. So that's the main part of phase 2 of the emails. That's going to be done in the start of September. Miranda, you are still having issues with folders in your emails. I can't see in all subfolders. Yes, this is not an us problem. This is a Microsoft problem now. So Microsoft originally only let us pull in 1 line of folders and 20. We managed to get that extended to 100, I think. And then we managed to look at getting to pull in subfolders. But the Microsoft API doesn't let you go from a folder into a subfolder, into a subfolder, into a subfolder. So Microsoft, we've not got any weight with Microsoft. It's, we haven't got any weight with QuickBooks, but I like to try and throw my weight around occasionally. But that is a limitation of the Microsoft API now, Miranda. So we can't help you any further with subfolders, unfortunately. What we're pulling through now is the best we can pull through. It's the maximum that the API and Microsoft provide will allow us to do. When we came to test and do beta testing, we hadn't really considered folders because we don't use folders in my firm for my emails. I just have one folder. It's called Archive. I think there's about 6,500 unread emails in there. But we don't have all this huge folder structure because we pull emails out and save them as PDFs in the client file folders where we have them. So we hadn't come across this limitation until you guys started all integrating into it and reporting the folder issue. And it's been a bit of a road of discovery, but yeah, we're now at the point where it is now limited by Microsoft, not ourselves. So we are maximizing the ability we have with the API as it stands with Microsoft. So unfortunately, Miranda, in short, there's nothing else we can do to get into your subfolders and subfolders because there are limitations on the API. Okay, is there any more questions or comments? Questions come in. We were trying to CC someone in an email but couldn't work out how. That is coming in phase 2. You're going to be able to CC and BCC in phase 2 as well. So in phase 1, just to get it out, because everything was dependent on phase 1 really, for auto emails and everything like that, we wanted to make sure we had some email inbox management. It just meant to get it done in time. We didn't have time to build the CC, but that'll be done in September as well. Miranda, thanks. I'll reorganize my folders. Thank you, Miranda. I don't like turning around to people and saying we can't do something. And we'll always do our best to do something as best we can. But unfortunately, this is a limitation on us we can't avoid. A bit of reorganization of the folders. I'm sure you'll be fine there. And of course, once phase 2 of the emails is out next month. No, where are we? We're in June, aren't we? Sorry, Peter. No, it's going to be done in September. Do not hold me to a month. Christ, I'll get killed. Phase 2 of the emails will go out on the in September, and you'll be able to log any emails you want then against that client in Client Engager. So you won't need your subfolders at all in Outlook. So that completely solves the issue. Kirsty saying that was really helpful. Thank you. You're more than welcome, Kirsty. And someone is asking if this is a weekly or nightly live show to get loads of Q&A. I am planning to do this weekly. Oh, it's Andy. So I'm planning on doing this weekly on a Wednesday night at 7:30. If it starts getting quiet, I will change it to a fortnightly. That is not a problem at all. Most blokes get permission from their wives to go to the pub or go and play golf on an evening. I get permission from my wife to come and stream and talk to you guys. So work-life balance might need addressing slightly, but it's fine. So every week I will be here at 7:30 on a Wednesday, but not for the next 2 weeks because I'm at Digital Accountancy Show in London and then I'm on holiday in Whitby. But I will be back in 3 weeks' time to do it. So that's not an issue. Another thought with Microsoft integration, any possibilities of tasks being linked to Microsoft To Do? It's not we've not looked at that. It's a different API entirely from the Microsoft email API. I can put it on the list, but I would argue we've got the ability for you to turn emails into tasks and it goes in amongst all your other deadlines. So I'm not sure we'd need to then build it to go out into another app, if that makes sense. But I'll have a chat with the team and see what we can come up with. And Miranda, this has been so helpful. Thank you for your continued support. No, thank you guys for supporting our product. It wasn't that long ago. It was just me and Andy sat there using it in our firms. And it's come a long way in a very short time. And the more of you that are supporting us, the quicker we can build it and the quicker we can build out new features to suit everyone. So yeah, thank you, Miranda. Right, well, that has ticked us over the hour mark. I'm going to call it quits here. If there's any other comments, please stick them on. I'll keep an eye on the Facebook and I'll comment back on those comments. But hopefully you've all found this really helpful and useful. It's worked really well, I think, today, look, from what I can see. So we will continue with this setup going forwards. As I say, next 2 weeks, I'm not going to be here to do this because I'm away at conferences on holiday. If you are at Digital Accountancy Show on the Thursday, please do come and say hello. I'll be there all day and into the evening. And yeah, thank you very much for everyone joining us for the second time. Apologies again for last night, but it looks like this has been very well received. So really pleased that it's been helpful. And yeah, if I've missed anyone's comments, I will double check and go through it all just to make sure once I've turned the camera off, and I will comment back on the comments. But thank you guys. Have a wonderful weekend when it comes. And I look forward to hopefully seeing some of you at Digital Accountancy Show next week.